Hello, welcome to Uptown Tonight. This is going to be our July 14th of 21. Now, if those of you out there in math land, that's multiples. 1, 2, and 3. And I was thinking about this today. I don't know why, because I was like 7, 14, 20. That's kind of cool. When was the last time that happened? Then, of course, let's see. It would start with the 6. So 6, 12 of 18. And then the one before that would be, May 10th of 2015. And the next time you're going to see this again is going to be, August 16th of 2024. So you got another 3 years to wait before this multiple happens again. So just a fun fact for you guys out there. Well, what happened last week? Well, last week, let's see, Cito and I were out playing street dance in Tolna, North Dakota, and it was a great time. Great time. It was great people out there. We're sitting there, we're talking with the sheriff that was out there that night about Mustangs and all this other stuff in his pickup truck, and it was really good old-fashioned fun. And then the show went great. We got home at a decent time. We only talked about what was the weirdest thing we talked about that time there, Cito? You remember?
We talked about we're listening to Frank Zappa, right?
Oh, yes. I was sitting there. I'm indoctrinating Cito into Zappa. So last week we were going through Joe's Garage, and then this week we went through Chic Your Booty, Broadway the Hard Way. I think those are the only two albums that we were touched on last week.
Slut. Because was it the boys and the crew are waiting for you? Yeah, he opened up my mind to the whole Frank Zappa world.
You got to check out Zappa
if you haven't
yet.
Now.
Yeah, he's not some drugged out weirdo. He's just a weirdo.
What's his name? Vinny
Caliuta.
Caliuta.
Oh, everyone's favorite drummer out there.
Favorite drummer now. So.
And if you don't do that, don't try to spell it. It's definitely interesting. So, yeah, we were doing that. I remember a few weeks ago we were talking about just weirdness on the way home, and we ended up figuring out when was the first time a toilet was shown on network TV. So we had to go Google all this stuff, and I believe it was in 1957. If I remember correctly, you guys can check this out yourself. It was an episode of Leave It to Beaver where they went in like the back of the comic books at those times. You could order stuff off there, and they bought themselves a little, like a mini alligator, I believe it was, for like $2.50, and it was shipped to them, and they had to hide it from their parents. So what they did is they hid it in the tank behind on the toilet, so you only saw the actual top of the tank from the toilet. So that was basically the first time a toilet was introduced, at least on network television. But enough of me yapping today.
That's
Hey,
crazy.
We got Mr. Case Face here. Casey Wise is with us in the studio today. How you doing, Casey?
I'm doing well. How about you, Wade?
Man, I haven't seen you in years and years, and the tattoos still look great.
Yeah, I've been going kind of hard since the last time that we saw each other. It was like, what, 4 or 5 years ago?
Oh my
Something
God,
like that?
at minimum, yeah. It's been too long.
Yeah, it has been.
Way
it
too
really
long. The only
has been.
time I see you is when you post things on Facebook and you're sitting there showing your little shreddy stuff, and I'm like,
Yeah,
he's
I've
still
been-
at it, so great. Then I had to ask him to be on the show, too.
Yeah.
So.
No, I'm glad to be here. I was actually just thinking about, like, wow, I haven't seen Wade in forever. And then when we messaged about me coming on the show, I'm just like, I got to do it.
Yeah, you got to. Great conversation. Plus, you got to see his tattoos and all that other fun stuff, and then talk about what he's been up to.
Mm-hmm.
And I've just learned that ladies out there, this guy is still available. So,
Thanks, Wade.
or the guys, whatever you're into, I don't really care. But so we have to advertise this guy a little bit for him. So, so Casey, I know you're not from the area. Where are you actually from?
So I was actually born in Newport, Rhode Island. My dad was actually stationed out in Newport, and then he brought my mom with. So I was born out there, and then we moved into North Dakota, and I've been like to Dunseat, to Hankinson, to Walcott, where I reside with my mom for about until I graduated high school. And then basically, I think it was like a week or two after that, I'm just like, see ya, I'm out.
So you're an Army brat or an Air Force brat?
Navy.
Navy. Okay.
Yeah.
Then how did Navy ended up in North Dakota?
My dad is originally from Cogswell.
Okay.
Because he was actually born in Orange County, and then my grandpa moved, I think, to North Dakota. I don't know the full story on that, but he was born in Orange County. They came up to North Dakota. He grew up in Cogswell, while my mom lived in Milner.
Okay, this is just blowing my mind. You're
You
born
know what's funny is I
in-
know all these towns that you're saying. I think we played street dances in each one of them.
that too. But you were born in Rhode Island.
Yep.
You say your dad was from Orange County.
Yep. My dad was from Orange County.
So that's in California.
Yep.
So you're spreading across there, and then somehow that all triangulated into North Dakota.
Yep. 100%.
Oh my gosh.
Like, it's like crazy to think, like, because my mom, I believe she was born in Breckenridge.
Okay.
And I'm just like, okay, like, it's just such a weird, like, way to think about, like, okay, my dad was born in Orange County, my mom's from Breckenridge, I'm from Rhode Island, so is my sister. I have a younger sister, Brittany, that was also born in Newport, because I think
Hi, Brittany, if you're out
I think my parents stayed out there for a couple years after I was born, and then she was born there too. And I think my dad got out, and then we just moved back to North Dakota because my brother was here too. Because my brother was from a separate relationship my mom had, and he was at my grandma's house when my grandma was taking care of him back in that time frame. So it was it was kind of just all over the place. It really was.
there. Wow. So you make a lot of friends during that, or were you the recluse, or how did you manage your way through all that?
Well, like I was like 2 years old, and I'm just like, I don't remember much of it, but like I remember Dunseith very vaguely, that we had like friends up there that we'd like, play with all the time. And my older brother was like, and this is like a very vivid memory that I have. We're playing with our friends, and my brother was actually like singing Astro Creep by White Zombie. And I'm just like,
And it began.
I'm like, what's it? Like, what's this, right? And we ended up moving down to Hankinson. And as I grew older, and I asked my mom about it, because I've done a couple jobs out in Hankinson, the school that I went to that I actually did make some friends at when I was in kindergarten, I actually found out it was actually a place full of nuns. And I'm just like,
so you're at a Catholic school.
I guess. I didn't even know. Like, I'm just went to school and just did my stuff, and kind of remember some sort of things. I remember the music teacher a lot, because she was like really, she was really animated.
Do you remember the name?
No, I don't. The only name I remember is Mrs. Stein. She was my kindergarten teacher back in the day, and she was really cool. Like, she was incredibly patient for someone that's as anxious as myself. You're gonna notice that's gonna be like a running theme throughout the course of my life, really. But I don't remember how long we lasted in Hankinson. My parents ended up buying a spot of land, and we bought a double wide trailer. We moved to Walcott, and that is where, in my opinion, that's where my life truly began.
Okay.
Because that's the longest place I've ever been, and I've met probably the world's best friends I could have asked for.
Excellent.
Like, they are. I still talk to a good majority of them today, and our group has grown, but the ones that I've known the longest have stuck around the longest, and I consider them my family. So they're just really great people. I love them to pieces. So basically, when we moved to Walcott, I had to go through kindergarten again, because apparently the teacher's just like, he's not ready for going into first grade. No.
So much for Catholic schools.
So I ended up getting enrolled in Kindred High School for, K through 12. And that was a lot of fun. I wouldn't necessarily say, if I could go back and change anything, I'm like, I don't want to go back. Being an adult's awesome. Like, I'm having way too much fun doing what I'm doing now.
So did you graduate from Kindred?
I did. Yep.
Okay.
I graduated actually with a pretty decent GPA, because like freshman year, I'm just like, I don't give a shit about what's going on right now. Like, teenaged angst, if that makes sense. But ended up like buckling down and just getting my schoolwork done, and ended up graduating with I think it was like a 3.67 or something like that, after completely sloughing off my my freshman year. So
I didn't even hit that, and I tried.
well, it was like, I took like art classes, and like just tried to like get through it, really. The main reason why I kept going to school primarily was for theater, actually.
Theater. Interesting. I did not know about you.
I got into a lot of trouble in school, man. Like, it was foreign.
What?
It was foreign that my parents did not get a call from the principal office at least once a week because of stuff I supposedly did.
And so they'd ask questions what you've been doing if they don't get that phone call.
Pretty much.
Oh,
Yeah.
Casey, where have you been?
Well, my mom.
Have you been going to school?
Well, my mom tried. My mom kept really good tabs on me. Like once we got like cell phones and all that stuff, I had to do the check-in thing. So I, respected my mom's wishes and checked in with her. Sometimes I didn't do that, but my argument was always like, I could only be in 3 different fucking places. Where do you think I'm at? I'm at either this person's house, or this person's house.
We're in kindred, yes.
But I got into theater roughly, I think it was like freshman year actually, because the theater teacher wanted me in 8th grade, but the principal's just like, no, I don't want him doing that. He's just going to be a problem. I'm like, and she's like, okay, whatever.
See, that's the issue out there. Is, yeah, people that are a little anxious and everything else, they need something to do. And
Yeah.
that's really what needs to. Well, I'm not going to get on my education preaching post right now, but that's stuff that they really should have cycled you.
Well,
into
and
if you
that's the
showed
thing
interest.
is that it was like, it felt kind of restricting in a way. Just because I was so under the microscope all the time. And sometimes in the situations that I was in,
under the microscope. So what have you been up to while you were there?
like it was just mainly like me getting into trouble about like the dumbest crap. Like other kids would be like picking on me and all that stuff. Because like when I was like 8, my parents got, split up. So the kids would actually deliberately bring that up. And I would lash out like any kid would, defending myself in any way that I possibly could. And they would be like, well, they didn't do anything wrong. You're the one that perpetrated it. La, 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 la. So I'm like, okay, so I would get in trouble. But then things started to kind of change, like when I actually got into theater, because I had that creative outlet to get all that stuff out. Because the theater coach, who I actually respect highly to this day, she's been a very good motivator for me creatively, and also just to, reel this in a little bit. She was a huge help in that, and I was able to like completely manifest all that creativity of just wanting to do something that was grander than what I was doing like in my personal life. Because in Walcott, you couldn't really do much. Like there was small town and basically not much to do. And eventually over time, I think I was like 12, I started getting like guitar lessons from my dad's neighbor, because I'd go over to my dad's on the weekends. And every other weekend, really. And I'd get blues lessons from my dad's neighbor.
Excellent.
Because he was a blues guitar player, hell of a guitar player, too. Like, I've never, like, heard that's, like, in that time frame, I never heard someone play live that clean before.
Oh, wow.
And he was, like, telling
Remember their name at all?
What's that?
You remember that teacher's name?
Oh, Brian Olson.
Brian Olson.
Yeah.
So excellent job, Brian. You created something good here.
It was super cool too, because like the first time I remember when I went up there, I saw this 1960, I think it's a 1965 Gibson 355. E355.
That's probably worth more in this house.
Probably. And then right next to it, he had a Gibson I think it's a 1980s or 1978, I can't remember, Gibson Les Paul Silverburst. The same one from Adam Jones uses from Tool.
Wow. Okay.
And he said that I couldn't play on that one until I got a little bit better. So I was practicing on his modded Squier Stratocaster. And this thing sounded better than most Fenders at that time frame, because this thing was modded to oblivion. And it played super well too. And it was cool because on the weekends when I was at my dad's when I was 12, I would like, pluck away and all that stuff. And I was learning bends, and I'm just like, wow, this really hurts my fingers. And occasionally, like, you get calluses on that. So when I got calluses, I could like, okay, I can do this now and go from there. It wasn't until I was 15 when I got my first guitar from my mom, because she's just like woke me up early one day. She's like, we're going to Marguerite's, we're getting you a guitar. So
and that was the day.
That was the day. Like, it really was, man.
Do you remember the date? Do you remember how old you were?
I was 15, and it was in June.
In June, all
June.
right.
So like 13 years ago.
Summer.
Or no, 14 years ago now.
And what was his first guitar you got?
I had a BC Rich Warlock Bronze Series.
Oh, there we go. There we go. This fits this kid completely.
And I actually bought it from Paul and Brett at Marguerite's, because they were working there. And I'm just like, can you test out this guitar for me? Because I went like flashy. I wanted something cool, right?
Oh,
Like any other kid
yeah.
would. Like
Like the
yeah,
Warlock.
yeah, pretty much. Like the most oversold guitar, I'm sure, for a beginner because it looks, brutal and all that stuff.
Yes, it does.
So I got that, and I got a Roland Microcube little amp, and I still use that amp to this day. A lot of
you
the
still have it.
Yep.
Nice.
A lot of the videos that I post on my personal Facebook and all that stuff when I'm doing the covers, believe it or not, is actually that amp.
Wow.
Yeah.
So the first amp we had was the old PV Rage. And we were so cool. We figured out you push that channel button, all of a sudden you got the distortion. Oh, man. Everything opened up after that. It didn't matter what you hit. You just played really fast. Everyone thought you were cool.
Right. And I've
Saturation.
always felt like really gravitated to guitar. Like, because throughout the course of my entirety of my life, I've had music always around me. Like, my mom was a very big radio surfer. She would play country, the Beatles. She's a huge Beatles fan. And basically like a lot of pop stuff. But then you got my sister Brittany, who was into like super duper alternative metal, like Avenged Sevenfold, 303, The Used, and stuff like that. My older brother, he was like big into like rap and like lighter side of like metal too, because he listened to Korn a lot. My cousin actually did too, and I'll get to that story in a minute. But he was really big into like NWA, Tupac Shakur, and Snoop Dogg and all that stuff. So me like musically and at home, it was such a diverse
huge foundation of the rest upon at least being introduced to all that
Yeah.
stuff. Because when I was growing up, we had country and western.
We
It
had
was
both
basically
kinds.
at the polka party on Sunday before we went fishing. So that's how that went until I found my Metallica tape, and then everything went.
Yeah. It was like, and funny that you bring that up with like Metallica and just metal in general. I remember back as a kid, like my mom would work like when my dad would go to work when he was still at home. And my mom went to work too. That my cousins, my cousin Marcia had to babysit me, and my cousin Julie had to babysit me too. And then their friends would come over. I remember this as clear as yesterday because I still watch the DVD to this day. It is Korn's Family Values Tour '97.
Oh, there we go. Yeah.
I was watching it with them, and I was watching like Limp Bizkit set. Then Orgy went on. Then Ice Cube came out for like a little bit. But when it got to the Rammstein part, they would always turn my head around for some reason. And I'm just a little kid, right? And I was so curious on what was going on that I think I squirmed or something like that. I got my head out of the way, and it was right as Till Lindemann was doing the whole like
Light himself on fire.
no, it was the whole dildo bit with the hose during Book Dish actually. And then Korn went on, and I'm just like, I'm like, what is this stuff? I want to know more about it. Come to find out, like anytime that my cousin was hanging out with their friends, they would usually bring us with. And I remember seeing the video for Somebody Someone when that came out off the Issues album for Korn. I remember watching that video on TRL that day when it came out because my cousins and her friends all wanted to like hang out, and we were watching that video. Which made me become a huge Korn fan, actually. And that's kind of where my introduction to metal really began because I liked Korn a lot. I literally, as a kid, I was trying anything I could to try to get a CD, like anything I could do. And I would find people that would burn me copies of these CDs, and I had like the collection on like a burnt copy in each different color.
Oh yeah.
With the album name on it and all that stuff. And some of the tracks skipped and they didn't like rip right or something like that, because back in the day you had to burn fucking CDs.
Because technology. We'll get into that in a little bit here.
But I remember like listening to those albums over and over and over again to where it was like committed to memory damn near. And then all of a sudden, I think I was at my dad's one weekend. And
So how old were you at this point?
when I was listening to Korn?
Yeah, when you're getting into all this stuff, was this pre or post when you got into the drama scene?
This is way pre. This is like
Way
basically,
pre.
I think I was like, between 6 and 8 years old.
Oh wow.
Or something around the lines of that, because if Someone came out in 99, I was 7.
So you're talking about corn, and I was in high school. I graduated in 1996.
Yeah, he's making us feel old now.
And I went to the corn concert that came to the Civic when they had just a little minivan
Oh yeah.
and a little trailer that said corn with the backwards K and stuff,
Yep.
or the R.
Yep.
And we were like, who the hell are these guys? And they just blew us away. And I changed from Pantera, Metallica to corn.
Yeah.
And then in the late 90s, I wanted to be fieldy. I wore Adidas. I tried to get my tone like him, you know, like, so.
Well, and it's just like the thing that gravitated me to Korn so much was the fact of how heavy they sounded. And I'm just like, how do they do that? So, and me just trying to figure things out, I thought they played on 6-string guitars. So I tried to match my tuning to their 7 strings that I know about now.
Yep.
And now that I know that they play 7 strings, I actually own a 7-string at home. I play Korn tunes for fun, and it's really fun when I can actually like nail their tone with what I have, because I don't have like an effects pedal or anything like that. I just have a Spider 4 Line 6 Spider 4 amp that I just mess with those settings, especially with my Freak on the Leash cover. I try to get as close as I could with what I had, because ultimately that's how I kind of work, is that I try to get close enough with what I have, because I just don't have I didn't have the funds back in the earlier to like go out and spend money on like a bunch of fancy toys and all that stuff, because I got myself into some debt that I have now since been rid of now that I'm older. This is back when we were, you know, playing shows and stuff like that together. Like I was trying to pay off all that stuff, and now that stuff is no longer an issue. It hasn't been an issue for years. But that's how I kind of operate with my guitar playing, is that I try to get sound as close as I can to the artist that I'm trying to cover, because to me, when you're like, there's nothing wrong with embellishing at all, and trying to like maybe make it sound a little heavier, but I try to mimic that, because a lot of people recognize those sounds. They're like, oh wow, that's the intro to Freak on the Leash or whatever, you know.
Exactly.
So
And that's usually where you want to start off, especially when you're doing cover tunes. You want to play it the way that the artist intended it. And then you can start, you know, manipulating it, you know, twisting certain things or putting your own little flavor on top of it. So that's exactly where I would approach it as well.
right, and that's the way that I think I approached it too when you and I played together, because I know that you and I would talk about it a lot, like when we were like working on stuff, like when we had practice, like me and you, we just like try to get the tune down and all that stuff. And I try to go for accuracy with the tune, and even if it was like one small little thing that was out, I'm like, okay, I need to fix this somehow, and like go home and practice it for like 5 fucking hours or something like that. Because I was
again, the thing between good and great, I say this all the time, especially to my students, is the details.
Yep.
The details. You can make a smiley face and you can make the Mona Lisa, you know, and that's just all details. So, but let's get back to this drama thing, because that's making me really curious. So, you're interested in 8th grade. They kind of kept you away from it. And then in 9th grade, so what part of the production were you? Were you actually one of the actors? Were you a lead? Were you just somebody who held the bucket in the back?
My first year, I was actually one of the support technical people in the back.
Okay.
So I was behind the curtain doing all that, helping out with like any set changes or anything like that.
Fair enough.
From what I remember, because I remember going to practice with one of the other actors, because I didn't have a car at the time. So my mom would drop me off over at his place, and we would go to play practice together. And sometimes I'd even spend the night at his house, and it was super fun because we'd play like Guitar Hero and like BS the entire night. It was awesome. But then sophomore year came, and that's when I actually got to act and be something.
This I did not know about Casey at all. So.
Oh, I feel like I feel like I don't talk about it that much, just because it's like one of those like small little details I don't think that would be all that interesting, but apparently it's like incredibly interesting.
It is.
So
it is. There's millions of dollars spent on that stuff. You know,
yeah.
I mean, let's just look down south of here. You got Trollwood.
Yeah.
A huge amphitheater thing, man.
Well, and it really ties in a lot with life too. So that first year that I was able to act and everything, I remember it because the director actually wrote a play specifically for that year. And it was called, I believe it was called Freak. And I played Benny the Bat Boy, which was a kid that got bullied so much at home that he actually went home, and like the kids would be like, well, because his ears were like fucking huge. And they're like, well, you're
Hence
like a
bat boy.
yeah, you're like a bat boy, so go hang yourself in the closet. So he ended up doing that after school one day
Ooh.
and killed himself, and then woke up in the freak show that the play is based off of, because it's like like a circus freak show with a bunch of different people that had something happen to them. And why they're in this, like, I would almost call it some sort of limbo. I want to call it hell. I'll just say like it's like a limbo because they're imprisoned there. Benny, though, how I approached that actor is primarily just thinking about a lot of the things that like I went through in school with a lot of the kids that I went to, because I mean, like, I would almost say that the kids these days are a little bit more vicious than what I got back in high school, because a lot of it was like, like jocks and stuff like that. But the thing that motivated me the most is just the pain that I could sympathize with Benny, because I felt that same way too. Which I think I ended up blowing away my teacher and a lot of the people in the audience that day or at practice one time, because I got so into it to the point where I got like super emotional and started crying and like going through my lines and stuff, but still being consistent. And I think I remember Angela saying, what you did just there, keep that.
Yes.
And I took that all the way to regionals, and we ended up actually going to state that year. And I think we won, because I remember at regionals, the guy like was handing out medals because we all did so good, but he handed like the actor medal to me. He's just like, this is yours. And got some certificates for that. And when we went to state, it was like it's a lot of this stuff that I don't even like hear about now. Is like one of my friends, and I'm just going to backtrack back to regionals. One of my friends is just like, yeah, a lot of people are looking for you right now. A lot of women. They're like, where's that bad boy at? We want to talk to him. And I actually ended up meeting one of my good friends there too, and she's a sweetheart, and I talked to her here and there, but over time things change. But when we got to state, it was kind of sort of the same thing. I just kept all that. We got second. Thanks, Brett. Appreciate that. We got second.
Fact checked.
Thanks. I appreciate the fact checks. Because I mean, it's so long ago, I don't remember. But we ended up getting second, because I don't remember who we lost to, but we ended up making friends with like a bunch of people there, and that was a good way to network with younger kids that were also into theater. In which case, my sister was actually part of theater too, so it was really easy to get to play practice. Like, we would just ride in the car, like drive my car there and all that stuff. And we were both in the theater. We had a pretty theater heavy household too, because my brother was in theater too. So it was kind of like all three kids were into theater.
Now, do you think this might have a little bit from your father coming out of Orange County, because that was so close to like the
I don't know.
Like,
I've always.
I know. I'm kind of speculating. It's spreading that over.
Like, it's you think that, but like my.
So I can tell you one thing: my family had no inkling to do with any kind of drama stuff whatsoever.
Well, no, it was more or less like I just saw my brother doing it, and I would go to plays, and I wanted to be a part of that, because I felt like that was the outlet I wanted to. Because I did the softball thing when I was younger, and I because my dad wanted me in sports. Because my dad was really big into sports, and he came around with the theater idea. Once he came to our plays and all that stuff, and saw what we could do. But I did the softball thing. I was pretty good at catcher and all that stuff, but I was like a kid, so it was like your little town bullshit softball team, and it was fun. I had a lot of fun. I accidentally walked in front of a baseball once and got hit right in the temple as a kid, and I'm just like, what the hell? It knocked a few screws loose, which was kind of nice.
Or back into place.
Or back into place too. Yeah, that's another way to look at it. But then I ended up doing basketball, I think, 1 year, and I can honestly say, out of every sport that I have ever played, I hated going to basketball.
I can highly agree with you on that. So I played every sport out there, and that's the only one I've only spent a year at, besides wrestling.
Right.
That was the same idea as your brother. My brother was doing wrestling, so I was curious, and I wanted to try it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was enough of that. But obviously, with the drama, you kept on going. So what happened the next year then? The following year?
The following year, we did, I think it was my sophomore year. No, that was my junior year. I can't remember what play we did that year. It's kind of... maybe my sister's going to fact check me here, but I don't remember exactly what that was
Fact check.
because I just remember I remember Freak so much because we ended up doing that play a lot. Like we did that play at NDSU. We did that play out in the boonies at some school. I don't remember what school it is because apparently it wasn't that place wasn't important because we didn't give like once we finished this show there, we didn't even get a single.
They didn't even applaud. They
No,
just kinda...
it was a cricket show. That's what it was. Like afterwards, it was just like, what did I just watch? But no, I kept going in theater until my senior year. Because we would do 1-act plays and then we'd do 3-act plays in the spring, which were a lot longer. Usually in the 3-act plays, I was stuck playing the dad.
You were the dad.
I was the dad.
Okay.
In most situations, because that was like, because I think the first 3-act play I did, like I was like my first character actor before I became did Benny the year following, because I think they allowed me to do tech stuff in the 1-act play for freshman year. And then when we did that 3-act play, I was the dad because I wanted to be an actor. So they put me in a dad role. And then sophomore year was definitely Benny. And then we had like Beyond Tolerance after that. And then I can't remember what I did my senior year because I just don't remember. But I did theater all throughout high school. And it was a big part of my life because it was that creative outlet that I needed. But then once I got guitar, I would practice a lot. And it was foreign to not see a guitar in my hand in high school. Very foreign, for sure.
So you're doing the drama and then you were doing guitar at the same time. So was there any kind of bands or anything that you played with? Not getting away from the drama part, but...
No, that's fine. No, like it was weird because when I first started playing guitar, it was just me. Like there was nobody at school that played guitar, or at least not to my knowledge. But then there was this one kid that moved to Kindred, and he's actually a good friend of mine today. His name was Jason, and he was just saw me picking away on my guitar at school, and he's just like, "Do you think you could help me get a guitar?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure." And when I helped him get a guitar, him and I would bounce off each other. Like I would show him some stuff, and he would show me some shit.
Nice.
And we had I wouldn't say a codependency, but we had a guitar, basically we were guitar brothers. And that's what I've always said is that he's my guitar brother because we had him and I learned together. And then he would learn some stuff and then I would go learn some stuff. And then we would just mess around with songs and whatnot too. And then he'd be a little bit more active in the Pops concerts stuff than I was because I was the outcast. So not many people wanted to come to me because they knew what music I was into and they didn't think that I was open to the idea of doing other songs with other people. So I remember watching him at Pop's concert a lot, and I would always remember being insanely jealous of his abilities of what he could do and I could not, which only drove me harder to practice harder.
Nice. Yeah, it's always good to have that motivation right there.
Oh, it always is. And now that I'm older, I'm just that was probably the best motivation I have literally ever had in my life. Okay, get off your ass, practice, bring in something at least cool, the next time you see them. Because we would have music class and the teacher didn't have a regimen for me or anything like that. He's like, go on the back, practice your guitar and all that stuff. And at the end of the year, you're going to take a test and we're just going to go over some basic music stuff. I'm like, okay, so literally my music time or music class was me in the back practicing songs. And
that's what's great about the smaller schools is that they have the flexibility to be able to do stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
If you were in the Fargo district, that never would have happened.
No, not
just been
not
shoved
once.
in there with everyone else. And
well, Mr. A was awesome. I don't remember who it was that was playing drums that day, but they couldn't show up for some reason. So I remember a couple people asking hey, do you think you could just do this this 1-4-5 pattern or something like that? I don't remember exactly what pattern it was, but they're just I'm just can you just show me how to do it? And so one of the ladies, JC, I think her name was, showed me how to do it. She's like, don't worry about the kick drum. Just make sure you hit this in tempo. I'm just okay, now the next important question is, how hard do you want me to hit this thing? But I remember just doing that in front of people because it's for a pep rally or something like that. And I kept the tempo and all that stuff to the best of my abilities because obviously I couldn't really hear much because I have so much shit going on around me.
Good old pep band.
But yeah, no, apparently they said I did a pretty decent job. Just, being on the spot filling. It was just like a whole like something like that,
We got the beat. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. And I'm just like, okay, drums aren't necessarily my thing. I'm going to focus on this guitar thing. And they kind of just, went further from there. And then once I graduated high school, it was like, okay, I'm going to move to the big city. I'm going to move to Fargo. And I was at home for like a week or two. And I'm just like told my mom, like, all right, see ya. I'm off to Fargo. And then try to get a project going back then, but didn't really happen until I got a text message from somebody to come and join, audition for a band that I ended up being in for 2-3 years.
What could that have been? John and all you out there, I hope you're watching tonight. And if you are, hit us up in the live chat over there. No, Casey was a lot of fun to have in the band there. It's just the new young energy. That's kind of like what's happening with this band I'm in right now. So we got the new young kid in there, and he's bringing all this new, the young energy going on. Us old men just sitting around like, well, we always got brown eye girl. No, we don't talk like that at all. Cito's going to kill me after this.
It was super cool to have that experience. Like now that I'm like older and like not having like obviously being an impressionable young man that I was back then with, playing the shows and playing at the places that we did, and obviously getting
had some really killer shows. Yeah,
we did. I was kind of scared. I was really scared at first. I knew of John when he would come into the store, and I actually sold him an Ampeg because he had a show that night at Playmakers. I believe, I can't remember if it was the Monkey Bar or what. But he had a show. He came in. I sold him the Ampeg. He ended up returning it the next day, but then he went in again and bought it because he liked it a lot. Because that's the same Ampeg that he would use every now and then.
And this is at Best Buy, right?
Yes.
Ah, there we go. We'll get into this turn of events.
Yeah, because I worked there with Darren Lovin. He's actually the key reason why I got the job there in the first place.
McLovin.
Good old McLovin. He's playing this weekend, too. Actually, he's playing tomorrow.
Oh, he's playing tomorrow?
Yeah.
Nice.
We'll talk about that in just a moment with Cito, but we'll let you keep going.
But I remember him coming in, and then, he would come in every now and then. Him and I would shoot the shit, and then I get a text message from him one night like, hey, we need a guitar player. Are you going to be interested? And this is where I think we're doing the project with, I think it was like Logan or something like that. I can't remember what it was called. But then John's just like, I want you to audition for this band, Six Gun. And I remember, you guys gave me the song that you wanted me to learn, which was All in Due Time by Killswitch. And I didn't know what the fuck I was getting myself into with that song. I just remember trying my absolute hardest to be impressionable because I'm such a fucking guitar perfectionist when it comes to getting it so accurate that I could. But this is my first experience of ever being in a band too, so I didn't know if I was on tempo or not. So I just remember showing up, meeting you, meeting Chow, meeting Tim, meeting John, and ended up getting the gig because apparently I made the cut, and then we ended up playing that Lacuna Coil show not even shortly after that.
Lacuna Coil. I keep forgetting about that one.
I will never forget about that one.
Oh, man. Yeah.
I will never forget about that show. The first show I think I was like 21 or 22 at the time. I know for a fact that I was excited at the fact. I'm like, holy shit. I actually listen to these guys a lot. But now I'm kind of pissing my pants because I have to go hit the stage in 15 minutes. So there's a mixture between anxious, pissing my pants, or completely losing my shit. And I remember before we even got up on stage, that I had to do my calming techniques that I've learned through therapy and all that stuff. And I'm just like, okay, you don't know how many people are out there. You're not going to see shit.
Nope.
It's going to be fine. And then they turn the lights down. I'm just like, oh fuck!
It's showtime.
That's a lot of fucking people out there. And I just remember that I had an absolute blast. It was probably the coolest thing that I can say that I got to do at such an early age, and being able to have you there, John and Tim, and even Chow too.
Yeah,
there
Chow
was super. Nice. And that was the one thing that I wish I could have been a little bit more back then, was a little bit more appreciative of it, because I like, now that I'm older, I'm just like, you know what? I got some pretty dope ass opportunities out of that. Even when we opened up for Pop Evil shortly after that, that's when the music swagger finally kicked in. And I was able to, you know, keep up to what we practiced and all that stuff. And those shows were fun. Like, I really enjoyed playing at Specs, probably the most out of all the places we've been to, though.
Oh, it's so intimate there. Yeah,
It is.
You just get in with everybody.
So it was super fun. But then, you know, like all fun things, like it had to come to an end at some point, and I ended up leaving, just on my own accord for personal reasons. And haven't really been looking into the band scene since. I have had a couple offers, and I've been very appreciative of those offers.
Available, guys.
Oh, now with my work schedule, I'm not. My work schedule is like Tuesday through Saturday, so it makes it harder to plan shows around that. So that's the only issue that I have ran into. Like, there's been a couple times that I've been offered to play with people, and like Jay, for example, he's asked me.
Oh yeah, I bet
times,
he's been asking you.
Yeah, and I would love to, and I just, like, the last time that I talked to him, I'm just like, this is my work schedule. Hold on, I know this isn't great. He's like, yeah, we're looking through for Friday and Saturday. I'm just like, I'm sorry that my job sucks. I can't join it, because I remember when Jay lived here, and I would talk to him and all that stuff, and I love the dude. He's awesome. Like, he's super awesome, and then
Such a sweetheart.
yeah, he is.
He'll give you anything. He just knows he's going to turn around and figure out what to get. But yes, so now we're working at Best Buy.
Yep.
And for some reason, this is where I got to meet a whole bunch of peoples. When I was there, kind of just, you know, I'm supposed to be teaching drum lessons and stuff. But then, you know, I got Casey there, McLovin, Mick Klein was there,
Greta.
Greta.
They should make a movie about you guys.
Oh my gosh! And then, why am I blowing your name? I'm sorry, Peter. Peter.
Tom Cruise gets to play you.
Oh, Niblock?
Niblock was there at the same time. That's where I met
Miss
him.
Peter. Love
Yep,
that guy.
And Peter is coming on the show at some point. I got to get all that scheduling stuff and probably get that done.
God, I haven't
started
seen
next
him or
week again.
talked to him in so long.
Oh, he's the same. Well, I think he's mellowed out a little bit. At least he feels like it
Yeah.
to me. But, you know, he still has the great stories. Oh, I love that dude. But, so, I'm going to tease this before we go to Cito. Apple or PC? What's your preference? Now, don't say anything yet. We're going to get to that. Cito, what's going on this weekend?
Hey Wade, how's it going? Thanks for the awesome intro there.
Oh.
This is the Uptown Report at the Windbreak. On Thursday we got October Road. On Friday we got the Nirvana. And then Stuck in the Middle is there on Saturday. At the Shooting Star we got Intuition.
And isn't
on
that clever
Friday.
how they put that together?
Yeah, but for some reason that one clicked for me. I read numbers really good. Friday, Saturday, they'll be out there at the Shooting Star, and in Sanctuary Event Center, we got Steel Panther. So
Yes.
ladies, go get out there and get your skaboosh on.
And Steel Panther was at the O yesterday. So
Yep, and Pop Evil.
speaking of Pop Evil,
Yeah, you guys were talking about that. And then Broken Love is going to be out there on Sunday night. Downtown, we got the Fargo Blues Fest at Newman Field. That's on Friday and Saturday. Newman Field is the name of the band, or is that it?
that's the baseball field. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, it's just the Blues Fest is going on.
Yep.
I gotcha. Tailgaters, special blend band. I was just golfing with one of the bass player from that band this couple days ago. So I'm going to go out
nice.
there on Thursday, go say hi. And then on Fargo Broadway Square, we got the Gear Daddies on Thursday. That's actually sounds like a pretty good show. MJ Saloon has DJ and the Atomics. Get out there. Fargo Street Fair is going on with Gina Powers on Thursday. I'm not sure if that's the band or acoustic. Downtown at the 701 on the roof, we got Gina Powers Thursday night. And then the Three Lions Pub, we got Zach Thomas with Chris Argenziano on Wednesday. And then Pub West has Zach Thomas on Thursday. Fargo VFW, the Six String Circus. We were just talking about McLovin.
McLovin's going to be there tomorrow. And then Friday and Saturday, I didn't get this put in time, but I'm blowing the name right now.
This is why we should have a whiteboard.
Yeah, I have it. I wrote it and I left it
I said
upstairs.
at the
I'm sorry,
I said
everybody.
It at the last meeting. I brought it up again. I can't work in these conditions, Wade.
Man. I'll have to come back to you. We'll
remember
circle
it later
back
here.
around on
All
that.
right, and then the Beach Bums at Otter Tail is going on this summer. Mick Klein will be out there on the Saturday, and then let's see here. Downtown we got the Dempseys, Space Monkey Mafia, and the Druzy Rose on Friday. Aquarium has the Prairie Pothole Pre-Party on. That's happening tonight or now. Return of Emo Night is on Saturday.
That's what it said. It
I'm
didn't
gonna
give
go-
any
I'm
artist
gonna-
just Return of Emo.
I'm gonna go to the closet. I'm gonna go get my emo clothes, and I'm going out there.
And it had people interested in it. That's the part that I thought was great. All right.
Return of Emo Night. Oh, I didn't even know it left. Red River Valley Fair has a hairball on Wednesday. That's tonight, or that was tonight.
That's tonight.
That'll be
That's
tonight.
Hairball.
Lone Star is out there on Thursday, and then Rat, Quiet Riot, and Kicks on Friday. Wow, they just taken the best of their songs and just putting it all in the one little short set. Round and round, and then Kicks comes out. I'm sorry.
Cito's gonna out
They're
there.
gonna find me outside. They're gonna be like, let's get him. First Lutheran Church, the summer concert series is going on. I know this now,
Yeah.
right now. Right now, sir. We're looking at right now. And then the Out of Town, the O original Minot has Pop Evil. Oh, we were there? No, they're over there at the Pop Evil with Zero
936 and Broken Love.
and Broken Love. And then the Roadhouse out there has Brianna Hebling on Saturday night. The Laughing Sun Brewery, our favorite place in the Bismarck Mandan area,
Correct.
has Tyler. Let's just call him. How do you say that? Katori.
Kaitor.
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 We'll go with that.
All right.
Yeah, we'll go with that.
And then Sunny Waters out there Friday. The Prairie Potholes Music Festival with Anna Moose.
In
That's
Animus.
in Anna Moose.
Yep.
And that's going Thursday to Saturday there. So, and then we got one more. Oh, that's it, man. So that is the weekend downtown Uptown report with Cito. I give it back to you, Wade. And then, yeah. All right. Well, thank you guys.
And we are back. So here we go, Casey. Are you a PC or an Apple guy?
PC.
PC.
Hands down. Hands
All
down.
right. Well, I got something to talk to you about.
Yeah, what's up?
All right. So here we go. Last week, if anyone who checked in on us last week, noticed that we had 1 billion and probably 7 different problems going on at the same time because I'm an Apple geek. If I know people have noticed around here. But the only PC I have running in the house is what we use to stream on. And that was mainly because that's my other good Apple product that could actually push this we use on stage. But this guy right here that I got right for COVID, just so I could play Fortnite with my kids until I realized that it wasn't going to work. And then they stopped playing Fortnite, so I just kind of abandoned it until we started up this whole podcasting type stuff. Well, yeah, this thing right here that supposedly has 8 cores. I know I'm going to sound geeky here for a second. I had 16 gigs of RAM on here and all that other stuff. Turns out it is a 32-bit system. Casey, how in the world is there still a 32-bit system that run in 8 cores? I don't get that in the first place. Yeah. And it wouldn't pick up. It only picked up not even 3 gigs of the RAM, no matter I had that whole 16 gigs of stuff. So this looks really pretty non-functional. All right. And then I was just blaming it on my hard drive at the time because that was getting kind of old. But it turns out that I put in a new SSD in there, fresh installed all that other stuff, started putting it back in just like we did before. Stress tested with what we were doing last week, and it blew up in the exact same places. This thing. Well, let's just say this. The first person on the live chat that says Uptown Tonight rules, this is yours. Anyone out there, Uptown Tonight rules, this is yours. You can have this thing.
Was
Or should
your
we throw it off
Wade
the
peacock
roof? Maybe
moment.
that's another good way to sacrifice it. But
Some other Apple lover like you is gonna be like, no.
that's okay. So I got this other board, new RAM. I redid the whole system twice this week. And basically, we've been running flawless, other than we have a little camera issue, but that's a whole side note in
Yeah.
itself. So, PC, this thing has given me so much grief. When I tried my Apple system on here, I had it running in 45 minutes.
Right.
This has been days. Casey, explain yourself.
I don't know. Like, it was super funny. Like, when I got back, like, I got into the PC thing, like building your own in the first place. I actually blame my buddy Brandon completely for this because he was the one that kind of put that bug in my ear.
Brandon.
He put the bug in my ear for it, and he's just like, you should get into PC gaming. And we started, like, talking about it. And then he ended up helping me build my first computer. What I mean by helping, he was watching me while I was stumbling, trying to figure out what the fuck I was doing. Which
is half the fun.
Like, I like putting things together and, ripping things apart and putting it back together again. That's part of, like, what I do now. The cool thing is, though, like, I ran that computer for a while and still did my PC gaming, but then I'm like, okay, I want more power. I'm like getting like power hungry and all that stuff. It wasn't until I met my good friend and probably one of the most nicest dudes I've known, because he actually runs a pretty good charity called I'll get to it in a second when I can like remember it, but it's like he works for Shellback Tech. It's a company that he owns.
Okay.
And he builds gaming rigs for disabled veterans.
That's excellent. That is extremely excellent. Now, that's
There you go,
not
Travis.
just because my son is in the Army at the moment, but
those are the guys that are kicking your ass in like Battlefield 4, and they're all got tactics, and they're like.
But it's basically he builds PCs for disabled veterans. And when I actually met him through his wife, because I'm friends with his wife, because I met his wife at a wedding for another friend of ours. And him and I got to talking. He's just like, "Oh, let me look at your computer." And he's just like, "What the fuck?" And just like put it, like, completely took it apart and told me like what parts to get. And he's been my main dude to go for PC stuff ever since, because he helps me with my builds. He kind of tells me like what's the newest and greatest. The guy's super smart because he's a disabled veteran himself. He was in the Navy, and he just loves computers, and he also loves helping people. So when he told me that he was doing this charity thing for these disabled vets, I'm like, this is amazing. Like, this is probably one of the coolest things I've ever heard, because those people need an outlet too.
yes,
And
yes, they do.
With some of them not able to like afford some of this kind of stuff, it's kind of nice that they have the ability of potentially getting one of these gaming rigs. And these gaming rigs are like immaculate. They're really, really, really good gaming rigs. Because he has like some sponsors that he works with, and he's just a great dude. I have nothing but respect for the guy, and not only that, he's just a really good friend of mine too.
That is excellent.
So whenever I have a PC question, I get him on Facebook video. I'm just like, I fucked this up. I'm sorry. Help me out, please. So I've been big into PC for a while, and with me working at Best Buy, I've been surrounded by Apple too, so I know how to kind of use both. But back in school, we had to use Apple all the time. I'm just like, I want to go to the egg office. They have Windows XP in there.
Yeah, we can manipulate that one. But no, a long time ago, Wise Man once told me, I turn it on and it just works. That's Apple. Or PC, I turn it on and now it works.
Boom. So that's actually what I primarily do now. Like lately, I've been like getting really big into like my gaming stuff, because I've always been a huge avid gamer. Grew up in a huge gaming household. I do a lot of gaming in my free time when I'm like not practicing guitar, because it's funny. If anyone ever asks me my opinion on like what is your favorite music album, I will not name any band. I will literally say Castlevania Symphony of the Night soundtrack from the game that came out in '97.
Wow.
We were just talking about that last night.
About the soundtracks from video games and all that?
We're painting skeletons, and we're talking about the Bone Zone and from Castlevania.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
I don't know. It's an inside joke. So.
Well, and it's like the thing with like game soundtracks, I can get so lost in them. I can get lost in normal music too. Like I can get lost in Korn albums and all that stuff, but there's something about this Castlevania Symphony of the Night album, and also like any Final Fantasy game that has ever came out has had a great album. Just because of the music construction with all the instruments that they use. It's not like just high-end guitar, like high-gain guitars or anything like that. It's like classical shit. And I loved them. I loved Castlevania exclusively I loved playing because it was one of my earliest memories of being completely lost in a game and being solely absorbed in the world until I, found Resident Evil and all that stuff too. That I just loved that kind of music too, where I mean, on my guitar, like when I'm bored, I'll learn like game songs. Like I know the Lost Woods theme from Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. I learned that by, just messing around at home and learned Epona's theme. And then I learned some Castlevania tunes because they use some pretty, some electric guitars and that stuff too. But a lot of the stuff when you actually like get in the castle, depending on what room you're in, because that was one thing about the soundtrack in the game. The soundtrack changed at every like different zone of the castle. Like you'd go to the underground caves and it was like an aquatic theme, but it was like kind of dark in a way. When you actually like stormed the castle as the main character, Alucard, which was Dracula's son, it was like this high gain thing, a lot of energy, and that's the kind of thing that I kind of miss in some games too these days. Is that like the soundtrack really made some games like super duper fun to play. Sound design too, like Dead Space, for example, that EA made, their sound design for the game was so good that I actually like. It's one of my favorite survival horror games because it is one of the few games that has actually made me almost piss my pants. So,
from the video games.
Wade doesn't know what this is though. But
No, I'm not much of a
Right.
gamer.
It's
It's like
really good.
Fortnite. I should do the
Picture like
Fortnites.
aliens, when
And
you're
I'm
in a
terrible
ship
at it.
and the sirens are going off and aliens and the lights are flashing. That's what it's kind of like Dead Space is.
yeah.
Does that have the purple gun?
No, it's got like he's got all sorts of guns that he's using.
The
so-
main one
Man.
that he uses is like this little like pistol that can actually shoot horizontally and vertically. And it was like one of the first one of the games that you could actually like delimb enemies to actually make them slower, so you can actually survive a little better. Especially when you got on the harder difficulties, that helped out a lot. But it was basically the game is like the silent protagonist named Isaac that is basically at this space station, and he has to basically they're designed to fix things, but something goes completely like fucking tits up, and these creatures are now basically infesting the whole spaceship, and you're supposed to survive all this with your armor that you have. And it was cool because the health bar was actually your spine, because it would glow a color, and if you took damage, it would go down and it would change from green to yellow to red.
Oh, interesting.
The sound design was so good in that game, though. It was like it made every situation, even if it was like one mook enemy that you could just like stomp or something like that, it made it so tense because you're
It's
just like,
immersive.
what the hell's behind this corner? Nothing. And then like the enemy's like right behind you. You're just like, fuck. Look behind you, and then the enemy's right there. Just
Wade's like,
Nice.
I'm the gamer over here. I'm
Yeah.
nerding out.
Yeah,
I played
so this is
all
where you
these
come in,
games.
Cito.
Yeah, I played all of those.
They're actually remaking that one.
Yep.
And I'm super excited for it. But I know for a fact, like with gaming, like music is so important in that too, and that's why I'm like really like whenever I play like these older games, like on PlayStation 1 and 2, like I geek out on like the Castlevania stuff because they've always had really good soundtracks to them. It's just like kind of like movie scores, but for games.
Yeah, because Wade, it came out when the PlayStation came out. They had the CDs.
Yep.
So Castlevania had like a real like symphony that like recorded the music.
Yep.
And it sound CD quality while playing a video game. Back in the day, it was all 8-bit music. And,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly.
and you're right, the soundtrack is amazing. Even now, it's just
It holds up. And now and it's cool that they actually have those albums on Spotify, and I listen to them all the time. And now this is going to probably blow your mind if you guys didn't know this. So back in the PlayStation era, when they had those discs, did you know that you could actually put those discs into a CD player and you could actually use it as a music CD?
I knew that we could use the player as a CD player, but not
Yeah,
the
that was
CD
Cito on
itself.
this
Yep, the CD itself.
Did not know that.
Because there was a couple. I think it only worked on a few games. I didn't test all of them, but it worked. I know it worked on Castlevania because I would plug it into my CD player and it would actually have my my CD player would come up as 99 for the track listings, and I would actually go through and it was the entire album on there.
Okay.
Wow.
I did
Okay.
not know that.
Because I was just curious on if it worked or
There's
not.
a life
and
hack.
Boom. And you don't have those. You don't have that anymore.
Well, we
Not
figured
these
that
days,
the PlayStation you could put a CD in it and then play it like
Yep.
a CD player. And that was pretty cool. So
Yeah, well, when that piece of equipment came out too, it was such a revolutionary piece of equipment because it was one of the first, like one of the first consoles that could do 3D rendering correctly, and then you had the N64 that could do it too, but the PS1 just looked better doing it because it had more polygon counts. So, full nerd.
And that was your nerd moment.
All right, well, let's get to some pictures here. I know you sent us a bunch. So, yes, we got our 6-gun Freedom.
Yep, we got that
The old logo.
Yep, that logo was made by my friend Jamie, and she's
I was trying to figure out where that came from again. So there we go.
Yeah, she
Jamie.
she
Thank
did
you,
a
Jamie.
killer job on our logos, and she actually did took a couple of pictures at our first show when we were opened up for Lacuna Coil 2. That was super good. She's been super good at graphic design for as long as I can remember. So. And that was like our screen printing. I remember printing those with you a couple times. And that was super fun.
That was one of the screens.
On the
I did
spider
that one
screen.
right behind him there.
That baby right there.
And then what was this all about? I was like, why are you sending me a picture of a check?
I don't remember that.
Okay, so this is just a mistake. We'll just go on.
Oh, no. I remember what that was for. I think.
I thought
I thought you had some story.
Wait, when did you get that picture? A long time ago?
No, you just sent that to me a couple days ago.
What?
Yeah. I don't know.
What the hell?
I thought you had some kind of story behind it, so I was like, all right.
Maybe, I don't know.
I'm just hoping there was no account information.
No, there wasn't anything like that.
Yeah, let's hope not.
Okay.
No, it was just...
Yes, that piece of equipment right there. That is my hot rod plexi head that Mark Fowler made for me.
Oh, yes.
Because he actually had my Metaltronics, that big amp that I used to use. He had it in his shop for a year, and he couldn't figure out what was wrong with it. And so I just took it to someone else, and they figured out it was like something on the board was misprinted or something like that. So because that blew up at practice. Remember that?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, because the tubes got super hot, just boom.
And that head is expensive.
It was, but I ended up giving that back to my teacher after I had it repaired. But then Mark graciously gifted me that, so I appreciate Mark for that. That thing is hot. It's so good. I love it.
What a guy.
That is one of Jamie's shots that she got from our first show, and I remember two things. Number one, I don't know where the fuck I'm looking. Number two, this mask is really heavy.
Yeah, it was.
It was. I still have mine.
Mine fell off right away.
I still have mine. I actually have two of them.
I like that picture. It's a nice picture. Who took the picture?
My friend Jamie did. Jamie Trozen. She did the photography for for that show, and she does a lot of that stuff for what she does.
Looks nice. I like the picture. I think it looks cool and kind of that Call of Duty ghost thing you got going on there.
That was also from that first show. I used to main that guitar, that Gibson Explorer, or not Gibson, it was an Epiphone. Epiphone Explorer. It's the Brendan Small Thunder Horse Explorer that Epiphone made.
Okay.
I use
Deathlock, right?
Deathclock, yep.
Or Deathlock.
Yep, I'm a huge Deathclock fan, and when they got those in Epiphone, I'm like, I gotta get one, and that was actually my number one guitar for 5 years.
Nice.
That is my new number one. That is my Jackson HT6. So last year, when this COVID thing started, I turned 28 years old on May 28th, so it was my golden birthday. I've wanted a guitar that I just wanted to spend money on, like a lot of money on a guitar. So
fair enough.
I went to Flatland to talk to Brett and Paul, and Brett told me about these Jackson HT6s, and I saw that they had a white one there with a Floyd. I'm like, does this thing come Floydless? And he's like, yeah, it does. And he sends me, he orders it, and I come in and play it. And I'm like, well, I mean, we ordered it in, so I'll take it home, but I was going to buy it anyways, regardless. I took it home, played on it for a week, and I have never played on a guitar that has been, one, so much me, two, fits everything that I wanted in a guitar. Like, this thing has incredible balance for what I do, and it's super light. Sounds amazing because it has Fishman Fluence pickups in it, and it is just so cool to play. And the best part about it, the inlays glow because it has the loom inlays in there, and I never had a guitar that did that before. Nice. So I texted my buddy Aaron Dorval, in all caps. I'm just like, this guitar fucking glows.
And side note quick, I'm going to get back to that VFW show that was ditching Delmer. Aaron Dorval's wife's going to be playing out the VFW this weekend. That's the one I was trying to remember. Excuse me. All right.
That's all right. But yeah, no, I love that guitar. It's been a really good workhorse for me. I love that thing. I love playing on it. And then the guitar right next to it, that on the left side, is my 7-string guitar that doesn't get much playtime these days. And then to the right of it's my Thunder Horse Explorer, which I have since retired. It's a collector's item now.
Oh.
That, I believe, was...
It's over John's face, but that's okay.
It almost matches.
Oh, wait,
though,
that's
like,
over your
That's
face.
over my
Never
face.
mind.
That's
not
back when my
John's.
sleeve wasn't, like,
You can
full.
move that.
No, that's fine. But basically, I remember that because that was like a day before that my amp blew out, and I had to use a Behringer, that big Behringer amp that John had over here that we'd use for practice sometimes.
Okay, yeah. Yep.
We used that at that show, and I don't remember who we were open for, but I remember it was down in like what was it? It was the downtown. It was in like a fucking basement.
I am trying to remember where this is
The
at
New
at
Direction.
all.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
The New Direction.
Yeah, the New Direction. I remember that. So we were opening up for a band there, and I remember that we did our set and all that stuff. I met like a couple people outside of that, but I remember I had to crank my amp, and I had to use so much control that day, so I didn't like feedback or anything like that. And that was probably one of the that was a fun show for sure, because I learned so much that night too about amp control and making sure that you got to keep it quiet, because like we didn't have my main amp, so we had to crank the Behringer, and that thing was hot enough. So it was funny because Mark Fowler actually wanted to loan me a carve-in head before that show, because I was literally just like went to visit him beforehand, because I think I was at his place and I got KFC before I went over there. I went over to meet you guys for the show, and he's like, "You can just borrow this head if you
remember all
want."
the stuff down to what they ate before.
Right.
So I'm just like, what's that advertisement in the back? Where was this?
But I remember him wanting to loan me the head. I'm just like, and me being honorable, I'm like, "Nah, dude, that's your head. I don't want to be responsible for if it gets busted or something like that." Because it was $100, but back then I couldn't afford $100. So I'm like, I'm just gonna use this piece of shit Behringer, and you know what? It actually ended up working just fine. I actually really liked that show. It was a lot of fun. And that is the day I came and met all of you guys for the audition.
Oh, was that one? Okay.
Yeah.
So let's see. That's literally to the right of me, right?
Yeah, that's over at...
Yeah, it is. It's to the right of me about 20 feet.
Yeah, that's
to where we're sitting right
your
now.
spare bedroom that's over that way, because Tim wanted to take a picture, and this was back when I could fit in, medium-sized shirts.
I
Can't do
remember
that
those
anymore.
days. Nope.
And that is a close-up of the the Brendan Small Thunder Horse guitar.
Nice.
So pretty. Even has the matching.
Yep, and it's
Case.
still stock to this day. I love that. I love that guitar. It is. I still like reminisce about it here and there, but just with the Jackson and me playing it now, I'm just like, you know what? It's time to put the Thunder Horse away for a little bit and just let it be a collector's item.
Do you love coffee?
That was from our Pop Evil show. That was we played the Pop Evil show like shortly after we did the Lacuna one, because I think we played only one show in between there at Specs, and then we had that Pop Evil show after that.
I just remember taking pictures out front.
I remember I think we introduced Gumby that night.
Was that the Gumby show?
That was a Gumby show. Yeah.
And everyone wanted Gumby after that. That's all they were worried about. You
Yeah.
bring Gumby out this time?
Is Gumby gonna be there? Are you sure he's gonna be there? He better be there.
Is Gumby a person, or what was the Gumby?
It was just a dude in a costume.
Yes,
Okay.
that's what I did.
It was like
Came out while we're playing Three Little Pigs. I just remember
Oh
that.
yeah, that's
Those were
right.
big
Yeah,
money,
we
too.
did like Three Little Pigs.
Yep. All right, so we have some juvenile destruction for you this week, Casey. Would you like
Oh.
to see what's going on?
Yeah, I like to.
Okay, let's see
check
some
it out.
off the roof.
Is that a microwave?
Go. Could it be?
Oh yeah.
hear me yelling lame.
Oh, I was actually gonna guess Bill. I'm just like those companies would be so pissed.
No, that thing didn't do anything I expected it to do. I was hoping for a lot more.
Oh, bummer.
Yeah, it just kind of opened up and spilt its guts. Didn't really do anything else. But there was this week's Off the Roof. Now, Casey, got anything to add before we have to cut it off here?
No, just basically what I've been up to is like just primarily work and like hanging out and just trying to see cool new things now that we can go on public again. So I'm gonna be probably going around and looking at the shows, and now I know where to find weekend updates too.
Exactly. So yeah, so check out the show every week for all the week updates. And Casey, are you going to be ever available again to play in a band?
Maybe. I would not be opposed if it was the right project.
Okay, so there we go out there, everybody. So don't leave Casey off your list just yet. All right, so it's good seeing everyone out there this week, and this is the first week that at least Uptown, the band, has basically not as a full group will be playing. Everyone's got some acoustic shows besides me, so I don't play acoustic.
So out of town.
You don't play the grandpa's guitars.
Yep. So I play the podcast. So remember, if your drummer has more charisma than your frontman, your band may be in trouble. That's why my band's doing just fine. Until next time,